Get started in just a minute.
Brilliant.
Welcome. We're going to get cracking and talk all about sleep and your weight loss journey. We are absolutely thrilled to be here as ever for the Live Well Live webinar on a Monday. Excuse me whilst I find the other part of this slide. Um, we are the lifestyle medicine team here at Boots Online Doctor. Um, and my name is Dr. Samantha Weller-Pilley. I am one of the GPs here and part of the lifestyle medicine team here at Boots Online Doctor. And we are here every Monday, give or take, to talk about weight loss and all the holistic aspects that we know go into a successful weight loss journey and a long-term health journey. I'm a GP, I'm a yoga therapist, I'm also a meditation teacher and an author, and I love talking about all things holistic. And I'm joined today by my colleague Ruth, who's going to say hello also.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. I'm very warm welcome to you today. We'll just check in and see if anyone has been to. I can see some familiar names. It's lovely to have you back. Welcome. And for anyone joining us for the first time, I'm Ruth Taylor. Oh, something's happened to your slides, I think, Sam.
Oh, sorry, can you
Cool.
see that? Can you
That's
see that
better.
now?
Perfect.
Apologies.
We're all good.
Apologies. I'm
We're having
trying to
one of
find
those
a
days.
bit of
Um,
an IT hiccup. Apologies.
All good. I am Ruth Taylor. I'm the nutritionist with Boots Online Doctor service as part of the lifestyle medicine team and also a registered nurse and health and wellness coach. And we absolutely love the opportunity to meet with our patients and people who are, wanting support on their weight loss journeys. We want to really cut through all of the confusing messages that we are all of us bombarded with in social media, in research, in magazines, in books. It is just rife, isn't it? So we want to really make this a very simple approach to weight loss. We know weight loss can be far from simple, but we want to really help with clear messaging, really helping you to understand how to lose weight in the long run, and to make it as straightforward as possible. Sam, we've now lost the slides.
Yes, I know.
All
I've just
about it.
stopped it because I need to find I need to find slides on my side.
Right.
Apologies, team. We are getting on with this as soon as possible.
I love that
Um,
comment from you, Sue Allenby. Thank you so much. You've told your GP about our webinars and she didn't know. Yeah, I sort of feel like actually this is
oh, how
something that a lot of
fantastic.
healthcare practitioners could be signposting their patients to, because I know what we're talking about makes a difference. So thank you. It's really nice to hear that you think that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, well, while we're waiting for all of the tech, so sorry about this, we can talk through without sharing the
So sorry about
slides.
this.
But it'd be really
Yes.
interesting to know who's been here before. So let's start by asking you this question on a poll. So we completely run polls. They're completely
Brilliant.
anonymous. We don't know who's saying what, but we're always interested to know if you've been here before, how many webinars you've been to, whether you've listened to our wonderful podcasts. Not that we're bigging ourselves up here at all, but we know that the information is helpful. So we really want you to engage with it in any way that works for you. And if this is your first time here, really welcome to you. You can see that there are a few people here for the first time, so it's great for you to be here. And hopefully this is a webinar that is going to be really inspiring and informative for you. If you've brought any questions along, then please do pop them into the Q&A box if at all possible. And also, just let you know, we've got Raman here, who's part of our team at the Boots Online Doctor, and is here to help us with all of the technical problems that we're having today. So thank you, Raman, for being here, and hopefully we'll get the slides in a way that works for
Hopefully you
everyone.
can see them. Can you see them now? Is that okay?
I can see the
You
fab,
can.
Sam. Thank
Great.
you.
Okay. I apologize for that hiccup. It's live TV, folks. Anything can happen. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
So in terms of people coming to our webinars, we've got a few first timers. Welcome. Welcome to those of you who have been to many webinars before. As Ruth said, well, there's some a few familiar names in the chat box. We can't see any of you, just so that there's no video on this. You can see us, we can't see you. So please feel free to express yourselves in the chat box. And if you have questions, it's much easier for us to find them in the Q&A box. So do pop in your questions. They can be about sleep, they can be about something else, about your weight loss journey. So we're here to help you. Anyway, I'm sorry about the kerfuffle. We will move on. Um, so we wanted to talk about the subject of sleep and weight loss because there is a connection between these two. Because you might be asking yourself, what on earth has sleep got to do with weight loss? Um, well, actually, what we can look at sleep in terms of our weight loss hormones. So our hormonal system is held in a very delicate balance, and we know that there are predominantly two major hormones that impact our appetite, and those are ghrelin, which makes is a hormone that makes you feel hungry, and there is leptin, which makes you feel full. Okay, so these hormones are directly affected by the amount of sleep we get. So it's a really key concept to get our heads around. So there's so many factors that impact our weight loss journey, and sleep is just one of them. Okay. So research has found that if we don't get enough sleep or we don't sleep well, the amount of ghrelin, our hunger hormone, increases and our leptin levels decrease. So that's our satiety hormone, the hormone that tells us we've eaten enough. So if we regularly sleep poorly or don't sleep enough, it's thought to be this is thought to be linked to leptin resistance. Okay. That means that when we sleep poorly or don't get enough sleep, we are less satisfied by how much we have eaten, and then we tend to eat more. Okay. So we also know that not getting enough sleep affects our food choices. And you can probably relate to feeling tired, sleep deprived at some point in your life and craving foods that are higher in calories and carbohydrates to try and boost those energy levels. And it's at these times that we tend to seek those more unhealthy food choices, the ones that promote weight gain, like chocolates, like sweets, like bread and pasta, okay, in sort of larger quantities because we're not feeling that fullness signal as we would had we have slept well. Okay. And although these foods might give us that temporary sugar high or that energy fix, this isn't a sustained feeling. And as we've talked about before, around cravings, these kinds of foods tend to negatively impact our blood sugar balance, and as well as having that energy high, perhaps that kind of fix, it's swiftly followed by a bit of a dip in those blood sugars, and that's when we can set off those cravings, that need for more kind of high sugar food. It's not a sustained feeling. Okay, so we can see that um, if we indulge in those foods, we can actually make ourselves feel more tired and hungry. So we can end up in that dangerous cycle of sort of chasing our tails, trying to find our energy balance. Um, and importantly, these energy dense foods make it more difficult for us to lose weight and contribute to us putting on more weight. We're going to move on to the next slide.
It
Another
is
piece of the
quite
puzzle.
a bit of a vicious circle, really, isn't it, Sam? So I
Yeah.
think, sorry, I don't know. I'm not at all croaky, so I don't know. Must just be webinar effect. So we'll just share another little quick poll with you. Be really interested to hear from you whether you're having problems with sleep. This is completely anonymous. Are you happy with your quality of sleep? Are you getting disturbed during the night? Are you waking up regularly? We're just interested to know, because actually what we find really helpful when you come along to the webinars is actually to start thinking about you. And we're all living quite busy lives. And sometimes we don't even take those 5 minutes to sort of reflect on our own
Yeah.
sleep pattern and what's going on for us. So this is your time. Um, it's great that you're here with us. We want this to be meaningful to you, and we want this to make a difference. So thank you for sharing. Again, this is completely anonymous. There's no right or wrong answers. It's just about you.
Yeah, it's
So
just that safe reflection. It's really not about judgment. It's just about sort of
yeah,
looking at what we're doing at the moment and maybe how we can improve things.
exactly. So really interesting. In the total number of people here today, only two people so far have answered that they're happy with their quality and length of sleep. So I think for everyone,
Mm.
well done to you. I'm really pleased to hear. I'm sorry you can't see the poll. You should be able to see it. Maybe try scrolling on your screen. I can see you're on a phone. It should be visible for you as well. And we're just simply asking you if you're happy with your quality of sleep, whether you're sleeping long enough, how many hours you're sleeping for, whether you wake up in the night. I can see we have quite a few people who are waking up. 90% of you are waking up in the night, and several of you, so about 40%, are waking up more than twice, 40% twice. That's a lot of waking up, isn't it? So really need to be thinking about what's going on here for you. Okay, I'm really sorry to those of you who can't see the poll. It's not, it's not essential. It's also for our interest as well. So we know whether this is relevant to you. So please don't overly stress and
You
just
can also,
reflect on what's going on.
yeah, and you can let us know in the chat box. That's fine. Just let us know if you're sleeping poorly or how many
Yeah,
hours you're getting per night. So apologies if you can't see the poll on a phone, perhaps.
yeah.
Um,
Okay, let's talk about this anyway slide because we need to move on as well. So we wanted to just put together the thoughts around our hormones and how they can really impact on our sleep and our quality of sleep. And we know that cortisol, which is one of our main stress hormones, will really impact on the production of melatonin. Melatonin is something that really helps with good quality sleep. Our cortisol should peak first thing in the morning to help us wake up and feel abundant and bright and full of vim and vigor for the day. But if our cortisol levels are dysregulated, that can really affect how we sleep, can affect our quality of sleep. And what we know is that sleep deprivation as well, or poor sleep quality, then also sort of like a double-edged sword, can really impact our natural cortisol rhythm. So if we're not sleeping well, if we're going through a stressful time and our sleep is disturbed, or if something's going on physiologically in our bodies that's affecting our sleep, that can also change our cortisol levels. So lack of sleep can lead to higher cortisol levels at night when they should be reasonably low, which can interfere with your quality of sleep, can interfere with your ability to fall asleep and your ability to stay asleep. So that creates this whole vicious cycle that can go on. Too much cortisol, we know then, can disrupt our sleep. And also, we know if cortisol is high consistently, it can affect our weight management. It can lead to weight gain and it can make it incredibly a little bit more difficult to lose weight. So, this is crucial. Getting good quality sleep can really link in to all of this. So, what are the factors that can affect our cortisol level? Well, it's quite broad. So it could be that we have some blood sugar dysregulation. We talk about that a lot in the good food webinars and the how to eat webinars. So do tune into those or watch the replays. We need to be thinking about what we're drinking. For some people, they can drink caffeine without very much impact on their blood sugars. On other people, it can have quite a big impact on their sort of hormone balance and really worth sort of looking at. Long-term stress we know can really disrupt our cortisol, but also things are going on physically in our body. So if we have long-term pain, or we know that from people who've been coming to the webinars previously, there are people with conditions which are inflammatory. So we know inflammation in our bodies can affect our cortisol levels, which again can interfere with our sleep. And people who are doing regular shift work or even irregular shift work, Sam and I have done this ourselves. We know that that can be a massive disruptor of cortisol and sleep patterns, and it can take quite a while to get back into some sort of routine and some sort of baseline pattern of sleeping. But also people who've got some dysregulation going on in their sex hormones, whether you're male or female, can make quite a big difference to sleep and sleep quality and length. So there's a lot to be thinking about. It's not just a simple, oh my goodness, I'm a bit stressed. It's, oh my goodness, what's going on in my body? How am I eating? Am I setting myself up with drinking too much caffeine? And is that going to disrupt my quality of sleep? we really want you to start thinking about what you can do, which little bits of the jigsaw puzzle you can pick off to make a difference for you. Wouldn't you agree, Sam?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because we've talked about the the importance of sleep, and sleep in general for our health is a non-negotiable, for so many reasons. And on the weight loss journey is no different. And really, we're looking this whole series, the podcasts, everything, we're looking at this as a health journey. It's almost the weight loss, yes, of course, it's important, it's our primary focus, but we're really looking at the health gains that we get with when we are successful in this endeavor.
Yeah. So what we know, I mean, Sam, you were talking about the increase in ghrelin and our lack of feeling of fullness and our increased hunger from lack of sleep. But interestingly, the research tells us that if we are getting less than 5 hours sleep consistently each night, the research tells us we will be consuming around an extra 300 calories a day. And those calories are often from the less healthy, the sort of higher processed food orientated foods, more sort of rich in saturated fats and sugars. And this sort of later day eating is often part of that picture, just because I guess people are just feeling a bit depleted and have to keep going. And that sort of whole pattern can increase your hunger, can lead to a loss of daytime activity, a lot of loss of energy, and just generally the sort of whole picture for weight management, weight loss is really, really challenging. Interestingly, there was some research that was conducted on healthy people to just really nail our understanding of how sleep deprivation can have such a huge impact on our health. And they did a study where they took some very healthy people who had no health parameters out of kilter at all, and they subjected them to less than 4 hours sleep for 6 nights. And all that took, just those 6 nights, those people went from being really healthy to being in a pre-diabetic blood glucose range. And it really helps us to understand how important that lack of sleep is on our blood sugar management and our risk of weight gain and diabetes. And what we now know from all of this research that's going on in the background is that less than 5 hours sleep consistently is linked to a 40% higher risk of being obese. So that is really significant. And for those of us who are in the room who aren't getting good quality sleep regularly, and I can raise my hand to that, and this is something I'm working on, I'm a work in progress. This is really important, isn't it, Sam?
Absolutely, absolutely. Um and it can be something that we work on that takes time to get to the levels that are supporting you. So don't it's something you could discuss with your GP. It's something we're going to give you some more food-based tips very shortly. And yeah, but I know some of this insomnia is a real thing, and it can be really difficult and
Yeah.
really hard for people. So we're not minimizing it. We just want to explain the benefits on your weight loss journey if we do address the sleep issue. Um, so we all know that caffeine impacts our sleep, and reducing how many cups of tea or coffee that you drink, or switching to decaffeinated drinks after lunchtime could be a big game changer for some of us. Some of us are real coffee addicts, and we have a real coffee culture these days. But we know that caffeine can reduce the quality and quantity of sleep. So we really want to look at drinking no more or consuming no more than 300 to 400 milligrams of caffeine per day. And really, if we're thinking about prioritizing our sleep quality and quantity, we want to stop drinking caffeine by lunchtime. Okay, so we can perhaps share this with you. There's a lot of numbers here that I could share. An Americano, which is 1 to 2 shots of coffee in there, is 75 to 150 milligrams of caffeine. An instant coffee is 30 to 90. A latte is the same, 75 to 150. We could look at what have we got? Have we got a black tea? We haven't got a black tea on this list, but an Earl Grey tea is 40 to 60. I think a black tea is a little bit more than that. I would say it's more along the lines of 90 with instant coffee. What have we got? A decaf coffee has a little bit of caffeine in it, 2 to 7 milligrams. Decaf tea, 2 to 5 milligrams. A can of Coca-Cola, 34 milligrams. Okay, so just an idea. I wonder if we should share this, whether it's helpful to
Yeah,
share
we
it
could
on
pop
the.
it in the chat box.
I'm just going to copy and paste and share these numbers if it is useful to people. Um, there we go. Ooh, did that work?
Great, I can see. So Paul is saying that he's recently kicked caffeine. Have you given caffeine up altogether, Paul, or just cut it down? But it's really, you're really noticing a benefit in your sleep.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So that's really good to know. Well done.
Yeah, that's really great. Thank you. Thank you. It's a kind of obvious one, but I think it's when we get feedback like that from people who actually have done it and notice the difference, that's the key, isn't it? That's when you see it, it truly does have an impact. So let's talk about how much sleep we're talking about when we want to support our weight loss and our health journey. So everyone's a little bit different, but on average, what the research has found is between 7 and 9 hours sleep a night is important for our general health as well as our weight, or an average of 7.5 hours per night. Okay. Higher rates of obesity have been found in people who regularly get less than 7 hours of sleep, and uh, there are other health consequences. As we know, we're talking about metabolic and cardiovascular health that are impacted by chronic, long-term poor sleep patterns. Okay. Um, a regular short sleep duration of less than 6 hours a night is associated with a higher BMI. So it's really worth thinking about setting yourself enough time in the evening or opportunity to get that amount of sleep that you need. Start with working out how much sleep you're getting now and gradually looking to increase that amount, maybe bringing your bedtime a bit earlier. If you have an early start, lots of us are sort of, you know, go to bed really quite late, sort of after midnight. And, when we have to get up a clock, that's not giving us that opportunity to get that deep, refreshing, rejuvenating sleep. Um, we also know from the research that the best way to reset and improve your sleep is to have a regular wake time. So you might feel initially tired in the day, but this will train your body into healthier sleep habits. Um, Sleep quality is also known to be a bit better if you go to bed before midnight, and this is all to do with how our bodies respond to changing light levels in the evening.
It's really interesting, isn't it? The more you go into these subjects, the more fascinating it becomes, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
some great comments in the chat box. Thank you. And I think it's also really fantastic that you're sharing with one another because hearing it from us is one thing, but hearing it from one another is also really powerful, isn't it? So let us look at the foods that there is a little bit of research around how these particular foods can be helpful in terms of supporting a better night's sleep. It's not going to be the answer. We need to do all of the other groundwork too, maybe getting light on our eyeballs, maybe getting that caffeine reduced quite significantly, maybe setting the intention of going to bed earlier. But these are some additional things we can think about. So there are certain foods that could be helpful to consider. So kiwi fruit, not one that is known particularly well, but kiwi can boost serotonin and that can in itself improve the sleep cycle. And eating kiwi fruit regularly in the evening has been found to help people get to sleep faster and to sleep for longer. So an easy win and also a really healthy addition to your sort of eating if you enjoy kiwis. Almonds have got both melatonin and magnesium, so are thought to be helpful for promoting restful sleep. A moderate portion of protein before bed can also help with better sleep because especially those that are rich in tryptophan. So tryptophan foods are things like eggs, avocado, turkey, pumpkin seeds. So maybe wanting to be thinking about how you can bring those in. And then oats and milk have also been found to have some beneficial properties in terms of helping with better quality of sleep. So really think about what you can do. If there's something here on this list that you fancy giving a go, then yeah. So somebody's saying, I thought we were supposed to avoid fruit in the evenings because of the sugar, which can keep us awake. I would say if you're going to have fruit, I wouldn't have it on its own. I would probably have it with a little bit of yogurt. So you're combining it with some healthy fats and some protein. But depending on who you are, what's going on for you, yeah, And the other thing you could do is tuck it on the end of your evening meal. So it's there, it's sort of boosting your melatonin earlier in the evening, which can help as well in terms of getting that restful sleep, setting you up. Um, yeah, there's all sorts of ways we can do this. So have a think about what might work for you. And then thinking about drinks, this is also a really sort of missed opportunity, I think. So there are all sorts of drinks and different teas that can be helpful for promoting sleep. So there's the Montmorency cherry. Again, it's quite high in sugar, but it's absolutely delicious. So a little bit of cherry juice mixed into some yogurt might be something to try. You can also drink cherry juice earlier in the day, combining that with a meal to reduce the sort of sugar impact of that juice. You would be diluting it in water. Passion flower also increases our production of a neurotransmitter called GABA, and that can really help in terms of taking away overthinking and anxiety. So, if you're an overthinker or prone to anxiety, passion flower tea may be something to consider. Chamomile, you can start drinking that from the afternoon to really help to increase sleepiness and to reduce insomnia, and really just, combine all of this with reducing the caffeine. So these are great alternatives to start introducing. And also valerian has got some beneficial properties for helping. You might take a little bit of time if you're a sort of strong coffee drinker and you're not used to these alternative teas. They may not be the thing that you love the first time you try them. It can be acquired taste. So see how you get on with those. What do you think, Sam? Any for you there?
I really enjoy chamomile tea personally. I find it very relaxing and restful. And I'm not a huge herbal tea person, and I wish I was actually because I think they are much more positive for you than,
Mm.
having been a lifelong black tea builder's tea drinker. It's much lighter. And actually, I'm trying different ones, and as you say, you might not particularly love it the first time you try it, but actually there is such a variety out there now. There's so many different options to try for all sorts of things. But I do find chamomile quite helpful in the evenings, just to unwind, just find it just very
Switch
relaxing.
off.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. Um, so we've talked a lot about the importance of sleep. What is really important is our sleep cycles. We've mentioned this a little bit. It's called the circadian rhythm, which is our natural rhythm, our sleep-wake cycle, um, and it's uh, various hormones play into this. Not and cortisol is one of them. Um, and what the body likes is that regularity. Okay, that regular bedtime, that regular wake time, if we can manage it. I know that many of us may be shift workers, or some of us may be shift workers. I have been a shift worker. It presents additional challenge, but they are not insurmountable. But it's having that regularity and the amount of sleep that is really important. Okay, if you can, um, if you can manage to reset this and set a really nice circadian rhythm so that you're getting that regular sleep, you're likely to feel more alert in the daytime, have better strength and stamina, and more control over what you eat in the day. Okay, so here are some great ways to look at resetting your body clock. So when you wake up, try and get outside for 5 minutes as soon as you can. Okay, this is a really great way to regulate your melatonin, your sleep hormone. It's released throughout the day and it allows you to drop off to sleep at night. Okay, so s- um, generally speaking, getting as much daylight as possible will help you feel more alert in the daytime. So if you're working in an office or in a home office, sit by a window and maximize how much light you're getting in the daytime. There is good evidence now that blue light, that's the light that we get that meets our eyes as we're looking at screens, so computer screens, phone screens, TV screens, this negatively impacts on sleep by suppressing the production of melatonin, that all-important sleep hormone. Okay, so particularly try and reduce your exposure to these screens, this light, blue light, in the afternoon and evening. So often, if you wear glasses, you can get a blue light filter on those glasses. and also, of course, avoiding screen time later in the day, and especially before bed. You want to stop staring at screens if you can, at least an hour before bedtime. I know that so much of our lives revolve around screens these days, but there are real implications on how our brain reacts to the light that is emitted from screens. I think some phones also have a sort of nighttime mode where the light is kind of dimmed on that phone. Um, that also could be helpful. Ooh, and we have a gift for you that hopefully Raman can share in the chat. So I recorded this. It's a full body relaxation. So if anyone's ever been to a yoga class, at the end of the class, there is a full body relaxation, which is called the Shavasana pose. It's a wind down meditation, um, and it's talking through relaxing different parts of the body and just really letting yourself fall into this deep relaxed state ready for sleep. If any of you have ever done this in a yoga class, you may well have fallen asleep on your mat because it is a very relaxing process to do. It's simply a body scan that will just support your body's nervous system to just calm down. So hopefully Raman can find the link and share it with you. If not, we will find it and share it with you. But yeah, it's a really powerful process to help you. If you find that your anxious thoughts or sort of worries for the next day are sort of buzzing through your mind, it can really help to calm the nervous system.
It's fantastic. Thank you, Sam. Great free resource there. So hopefully we'll be able to share that in the chat box. Otherwise, we'll try and send out the link post webinar in the email for you. If we can't find it, Raman, let us know, please. That would be really helpful. So let's have a think. What are you going to be doing over the next few days? We've got a poll to share with you. Be really interested to know what you might do differently as a result of thinking a little bit more about sleep and how important it is in terms of your weight loss journeys. Don't overdo it. Be kind to yourselves. It is about doing things that are realistic and manageable, setting ourselves up for success. And be patient. Remember, it can take some time to make a few changes. We're going to come along in a minute to your questions. Just to let you know also, oh, brilliant. Thank you, Raman. You found the top tips for sleep. Just to let you know, our next couple of webinars, we're going to be talking all about yo-yo dieting next week and how to avoid this because it's such an important area for us to be thinking about and putting some energy into considering how not to be in that cycle of that weight on and weight off. And then on the 31st of March, we're going to be looking at the impact of the gut microbiome. That's a whole new webinar. So that will be our first time of talking about the gut microbiome in huge detail in terms of one of these webinars. So I'll be really interested to have your feedback on that. Yeah, so let's close down. We'll share the link. Thank you, Raman, for sharing the link. And thank you to everyone who's been here with us today. We're going to come to your questions now. So
Okay, I'll
let's have a
stop
look.
sharing. Here we go.
Cool. Quite a few differences of what we're going to do. Consistent bedtime routines for a few people. Great. Reducing caffeine for a few people. Thinking about food, the wind down routine, limiting screen time, and some relaxation techniques. So great. Good luck with all of that, everyone. Let's come over to your questions then. Oh, bedtime food before sleep for weight loss. So I think we talked about the things that we know the research tells you can be helpful. If you're going to be eating before bed, we really recommend a meal sort of about 3 hours before bedtime, as much as you possibly can. So if you want something before bed to help with more restful sleep because you're struggling, then maybe just something like a light natural yogurt with some fruit in may be the way to go. That's what I would potentially recommend.
Yep, great. Um, oh, is there a connection between gut health and sleep quality? I'm sure there is.
Oh,
Do you know about that one, Ruth? Could that be something that we
I
I don't know off the top of my head, but I imagine there is. Um,
I'm going to go research and And if there is anything, we'll share it when we talk about the microbiome on the 31st. So
Yes,
really
fantastic.
interesting. Yeah.
Thank you for that question. Makes us think.
Yeah, we like thinking, don't we? We like
Yes.
being challenged. Somebody's asking how to get rid of those late night cravings whilst trying to lose weight. I think we have a whole webinar, don't we? I think on cravings and managing this type of thing.
And also, I would think about how late is late night and what are you having for dinner? Have you got that protein on your plate? About looking at building your plate so that you have a good filling dinner that is still helping you on your weight loss journey and in your health journey. Um, you know, uh, Thinking about if you do get late night cravings, what could you have? Like Ruth said, like maybe a yogurt and some nuts or kiwi fruit even to help you.
Mm.
To have something just a small amount just to sort of take off that edge so you're not going to bed feeling really uncomfortable and that's going to be distracting you whilst you're trying to drop off to sleep. um you know we wouldn't necessarily advise snacking, but we're all at different parts of our journey and if we're still in the space of having that sort of evening snack, then that's okay. Hopefully that will reduce as time goes forward and as the journey progresses. But if you did need a snack in the evening, perhaps make it something that will support your sleep also.
And also just thinking about sometimes we snack in the evening out of habit or because we're tired. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. Sometimes we're snacking almost to keep ourselves going, and we've got into this habit of raiding the fridge or sitting on the sofa and watching TV when actually maybe we should just try and go to bed a bit earlier and almost like jump around that habit so that it is less of something that's tripping us up. And just have a think, are you hungry? I think you said about all of the foods that you need to make sure you're really eating in the evening, Sam. So really make sure you're nailing. Is it hunger? Cravings often aren't hunger. They're more of an emotional something going on in your emotions. So it could well be that you just need to start thinking about what's going on for you emotionally. And, there may be some other work that you need to do around that as well.
And having a little pattern break, if there's somewhere like in your cupboard, you always go to that snack cupboard when it's, 9:30 or what have you, and you always go there. If you move those snacks to a different cupboard, maybe it'll give you a split second to just have a bit of a pattern break and realize what's going on. And in that moment, can you reflect on why you might be reaching for those snacks in that moment? Is it boredom? Is it tiredness? Is it because you're stressed? Is it because you're upset? And what, you know, delving into what it might be and then figuring out other ways of managing that emotion because that emotion is important, but it just needs to, maybe it can be acknowledged in a different way and felt in a different way. There are many things we can do if it's stress, to relax our bodies or to relax our nervous system. There's lots we can do if we're feeling upset, that doesn't involve, having that sweet snack or whatever it might be. Um, but I think the first step is to be aware of it, is to be aware of the habit. And then the next step is to kind of dig into it. Okay, where did this habit come from and why is it that I'm behaving in a certain way in this moment? It's worth exploring and it's these little things, which may sound like really little things, but they make a big difference because if that's an everyday habit that's happening, then it might be something to address because the impact adds up.
Yeah, there's a couple of people who are talking in the questions about their personal issue with sleep apnea. So there's at least two people who are talking about sleep apnea as being a factor in poor sleep. So really sorry to hear that. It is we know that sleep apnea is quite a significant challenge for many people. And obviously that's something that is more challenging to overcome. From what I've read, I don't know how much we have done as much research. There's probably more research we could do, but from what I have read, I know that it's almost that vicious circle. But if you can manage to lose weight, a significant amount of weight, that can make a significant impact on that sleep apnea. So getting the support to lose weight is really important. Being active as much as you can be, again, can help with improving your quality of breath work. So maybe doing the Shavasana may also help you as well, just in terms of bringing some calm breath work in, so I think all of those things and doing all of the other things to help with restful sleep, um, even if you get some good quality sleep at the beginning of the night, that would be great. Good luck with that though. Sam, anything you can add from a medical perspective along with that?
Um, just that sleep apnea, of course, will impact the quality of your sleep. And this person has been to sleep clinic and unfortunately couldn't tolerate the sound, the loudness of the machine. And I'm sure that the sleep clinic will do what they can there. I mean, there will be a noise because there's a motor that needs to run with these machines. Um, there's, I mean, sleep apnea is quite a serious an important, I wouldn't say serious, important condition to manage. Weight loss will really help. So, stick with us, and we can support you with the weight loss side of it if you weren't able to tolerate the machine CPAP. Um, we've got lots of questions about sleep, haven't we?
Yeah. So, somebody's saying about having a warm bath and then your body cools down. That can really help in terms of sleep as well. Somebody's asking for the previous webinar recordings link. Raman, if you're able to share that, that would be great. Uh,
Someone's mentioned about napping during poorly at night, it can really disrupt your circadian rhythm if you're sleeping during the day. So ideally, unless you really have to, I would say avoid naps in the daytime. If you can reset that circadian rhythm of so your body is expecting to go to bed at 10 p.m. or whatever it is, whatever works for you, it has to work for you and your routine. That's the time you go to bed and you get up at 6, whatever it might be. That's your routine. So you have as much as you can a set routine so that your body has the best chance of setting that hormonal rhythm. That circadian rhythm is run by your hormones. But you can support it with your behavior, obviously going to bed at that specific time every day.
Yeah, somebody's asking if blue light blocking glasses work. I think there is some research to suggest that they do, and also having a filter on your screens, blocking the light from your screens can also be something to look into, and is pretty inexpensive now. So a lot of the newer modern machines have a built-in blocking device that you can apply as well. So worth looking at. Um, good, we've done that. Somebody was saying that they have a late waking time. So what's the story for them in terms of how much when they should stop drinking caffeine? I'd still say, depending on why you're going to bed late, I would say try and finish that caffeine by sort of 12 or 2 in the afternoon. And we're all different. Each of us will process caffeine differently. So it is about, I think, taking it down to 1, 2 or 3 cups a day, seeing how you are. And if you're somebody who's drinking 6 or 7 cups a day, sort of just gradually taking that down, or you could have some really horrible sort of detoxy type symptoms when you suddenly go from a lot to very little. So just take it down slowly and see how you are, see how your sleep is. It can actually be very surprising that something that you think has no effect on you at all has quite a significant impact. So see how you go with that.
Yep. Um, Would having a shower before bed have the same sleep-inducing effects as a bath? I don't see why not. It would be sort of affecting your body temperature. So yes, it, what you could do in the shower, you could also team that up with something like a lavender um, body wash, and it just having that aroma of lavender is really positive for inducing sleep and relaxation as well. So that might be a nice way to do it.
Mm.
Someone can't fall asleep without turning on the fan. That's actually quite common. This kind of background noise. I think there's various frequencies are called white noise, pink noise, grey noise, what have you. But it can be just that sort of um, that tone for some people is just brilliant for calming the nervous system down. So if it works for you, go for it. I think that sounds great.
Yeah, definitely. I'm all for that. Um, so somebody's asking about for women who are pre or post menopause. Why is sleep such an issue? It's all to do with your sex hormone changing. Well, that's a considerable amount of it, and that will have a potential impact on your insulin sensitivity, which may then have an impact on your blood sugar regulation. So it's a sort of vicious circle. So it's about creating as much balance in your body as you possibly can. We do have a webinar all about menopause and weight management, and there is a recording of that happened perhaps in earlier on this month. So do have tune into that, and I guess we'll probably rerun that in a couple of months' time as well if there's interest. Somebody's asking about intermittent fasting affecting sleep patterns and how can I do this without disrupting my rest? That's a really interesting question. Have you read anything around that, Sam?
I haven't specifically. And it I guess in a sort of thinking about it laterally, do you mean that you're hungry by the time you get to nighttime and that's disrupting you and not enabling you to sleep? Um, I could see how that might disrupt it. I don't know anything about intermittent fasting itself disrupting sleep patterns. But I could see how if you were hungry and you were on a big break, it depends how much of a what your time restriction is, I guess, and your timings are. But I could see how if you were hungry, it would, disturb your mind and not let you relax.
Some people find it can really help. I think, again, it's that individuality, making sure you've got that protein as well, really important. So, somebody's asking whether herbal teas can benefit sleep and weight loss. I would say loosely, I doubt if there is any research to support this, but I can sort of see that there would be some semblance of yes around that simply because if you're having less caffeine, you will be promoting less cortisol production. And so, if your cortisol is then going to be more balanced, that could potentially help with weight management. But it's a very loose association. I don't know if anybody's actually done any research about herbal teas and weight loss specifically and sleep. Um, yeah, so,
But I
but that
guess
would make sense.
we've talked about chamomile, passion flower teas, valerian preparations that those can be sleep promoting. And then if we think sleep, if we have good sleep, then it helps with our weight management. Then you could see it in a kind of roundabout way, how we're supporting our sleep and therefore we're supporting our weight loss. So you could think about it on those in those terms. Um,
Somebody's asking about exercise that help regulate sleep patterns. So I guess again, anything that helps in terms of insulin sensitivity. So any type of resistance exercise may help with that. But also, I'm just thinking you're probably better at this, but some of the calming yoga may be quite helpful to do at bedtime. There are some YouTube videos that I have come across that are good for bedtime yoga. So in terms of calming, Sam, what would you say?
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing anything too vigorous and kind of awakening, in close to bedtime. I would be doing like stretching exercises, like a nice yin practice, or the shavasana is a yoga pose. Actually, it's like as like some say, the most important pose in yoga is shavasana, the relaxation, because it's all about bringing down the stimulation of the nervous system. Um, there are, yeah, I would, if you are interested in going further, looking up on Google some bedtime yoga would be a really nice way to do it. So something just gentle, I think, as we're approaching bedtime, we just want to be winding the body down.
A lot of people are asking about gaps between meals and bedtime and cravings if you are sleep deprived. So I think it is all about cravings. We do talk about cravings a lot. I think we have a whole webinar on cravings. So do tune into that and watch the replay. What we know about cravings is they are an emotional response to something going on in your life, or almost like a learnt behavior for many of us. No criticism, no judgment going on here. We can all have cravings. But interestingly, they very often have very little to do with hunger. So if you're really hungry, then you need to look at your meals, make sure you're getting those healthy fats, making sure you're getting that protein and the fiber rich foods. Fill your plate up, half a plate of vegetables every meal, making sure, your breakfast is that sort of balance as well, because this is really important. Get those 3 meals nailed and see where your cravings go then. Because if you're still having cravings after a couple of weeks of eating in a really positive way, then look at what's going on. Maybe start doing some journaling and trying to figure out what's triggering those cravings for you. Might be something completely different to what you're expecting. Somebody's saying, is eating 5 hours before bedtime too long? So you'd be eating at, yeah, that seems like quite a large gap. I think some people might feel quite hungry. Other people may feel great. What do you think, Sam?
It's so personal, isn't it? It's so personal. So if you're going to bed at 10 p.m., you'd have your dinner at 5. You'd be complete by 5 o'clock, and then you'd have, it depends how you, obviously you can hydrate, you can drink as much clear fluid as you like in between those times. Um, it does, it's so going to be so individual. We probably wouldn't recommend if you're just starting with time restricted eating to do that. If you're an experienced time restricted eater, then that is probably fine. But I would be guided by how you feel. If you're absolutely ravenous in that, towards in that last hour, I think it's kind of counterproductive in a way. Like being a little bit hungry is okay, but being really uncomfortably hungry I don't think that's going to be helping you because that's going to be stressing your system as well, and it's going to make it hard to sleep. So think about it, be kind to yourself. This is, it's not meant to be, we're just going step by step. So if you want to go with time restricted eating, start with a longer window for eating and then gradually bring it down, maybe week by week, maybe every month, you can make that window a bit smaller until you find a window that suits you and stick with that. Um, but I wouldn't jump straight to something that's going to be very challenging for your system.
Mm. Somebody's asking if constipation affects sleep and weight. I would say that is quite possible. Um, I'm just thinking your liver does a lot of processing at night. So would constipation have an effect upon your sleep? I'd have to go away and really think. In terms of your weight, then it may have a sort of short-term effect. If you've got chronic constipation, then it may have more of a long-term effect and is definitely something worth putting some effort into resolving. And those kiwis can be quite helpful for people who are constipated. You can take up to 4 to 6 kiwis a day with the skin on for the additional fibre. That can be quite helpful. So they may be something that could help you on both levels. See how you go with that. And somebody's asking about the kiwi. Is that all kiwis or green? I believe it's all kiwis. So yes, great.
There's a couple of questions about weight loss medications, specifically Manjaro. What's the longest length of time you can take Manjaro for? So Manjaro is a pretty new medication. This whole class of medication is pretty new. So, and this is still under kind of research, I would say. We don't know what the longest time is. We want you to be able to maintain your goal weight essentially and not obviously go underweight. That's important. So that's obviously going to be a concern with being on a weight loss medication for a long time. We want to support you with weight maintenance towards the end. So um, there isn't really an answer to that question, I'm afraid, at this time. But you can be on these weight loss medications, and some of us have a lot of weight to lose, and some of us have less so. So it's kind of how long is a piece of string in a way. But rest assured that you can, if you are on it and you're worried that you're going to have to come off it, you can stay on doses for maintenance. This is sort of coming into current knowledge, but it's the concern is, um, not wanting to give medication to someone who is becoming underweight. We do not want that. We want people in that nice healthy range that all their systems can work optimally. Um, I am using Manjaro but still feeling hungry. What dose which will make stop me feeling hungry? Just move to 5 milligrams. Okay, so I would be get in touch. So about specific medication queries like that, that's a really good question for the clinical team. So if you're with Boots Online Doctor, you can send us a message if you're still feeling hungry on your dose. It might be yes that you need to increase the dose, but it will also depend on other factors. So please do ask your prescriber to help you with that. And you will get a response. Oh, you're muted, Ruth.
Thank you. Somebody who is saying that they're struggling to get good quality sleep beyond 6 hours. Um, what to do as you can never get beyond 6 to 7 hours? Maybe just, I think also when you're trying to increase your sleep, we tend to try and put ourselves under pressure for it to be that we jump from 6 hours to 7 hours. And if that's sort of like your window that you're really struggling to increase beyond, maybe just try and go for very small increments. So 6 hours and 10 minutes would be a win rather than trying to go from 6 to 7 hours. Just try and eke it up very slowly, and just reset your body clock. Maybe it's about also the morning light, so getting the light on your eyeballs first thing in the morning to really help reset your circadian rhythm. If you're doing everything you can, do you need to look at the stimulants that are going on in your life? That could be stress, it could be caffeine, it could be any other stimulants that you're eating or drinking. So just have a look at all of those things, because it's just about finding those jigsaw pieces and identifying what it is for you that could make a difference. And
Yeah.
good luck with that.
Yeah, taking a look perhaps at blue light in the evening.
Mm.
Also, is your bedroom dark? Do you get a lot of now that our days are getting longer, aren't they, in the spring? So we're getting a lot of morning light earlier, so that might be waking you up as well. Just seeing, can you kind of block out the light a bit more so that you're not naturally woken up by daylight, or wearing a simple eye mask to help you overnight might be helpful.
Brilliant. Somebody's asking if decaf is okay despite the small amount of caffeine. Generally, unless you're super, super sensitive to caffeine, you should be all right with a little bit of decaf. Again, try some of those alternative teas. If sleep is something that's important for you to crack, bring in those alternative chamomile, passion flower, valerian. And there are a couple other suggestions in the box. Hawthorn came up as well. All of those teas can have some. It's about finding the ones you enjoy, and also different makes can be nice. That we all have slightly different tastes. So see how you go. Is having dinner 2 hours before bed still okay? I find it difficult to eat close to bedtime, as I'm worried about being hungry. It might keep me awake. You can have bad insomnia. I think it's about finding what works for you, Carol. This is about you. Although we're talking to a lot of you, it's about you then taking this information away and figuring out what is right for you. Like if you get better sleep because you're sort of having a meal and then going to sleep 2 hours later, and that really works and it isn't affecting the quality of sleep, then carry on. It is about getting the sleep, isn't it? And getting that sort of balance right as much as you possibly can.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I can see, I'm just looking through the chat box here. Thank you for sharing that bedtime yoga. Yoga with Adrienne is a really good channel that I've found
Mm,
as well. Wind down yoga there. Yeah, Rooibos or red bush tea is a good option as well,
yeah,
caffeine-free
yeah.
option, which actually I that's a very good reminder for me actually. I used to drink that a lot as an alternative to my builder's tea, which I love. But it's a good option. I put milk in it. Maybe that is some kind of cardinal sin in some quarters, but and it's quite nice.
No
It
one's here
might be
to
worth a
judge,
try.
Sam. You have your
No one's
milk.
here to
You have
judge.
your milk. You go for it. Brilliant. All right. I think that brings us very nicely to the end of today's webinar. We are back next week looking at how to not get into that yo-yo dieting trap, or how to avoid it if you've been there before. Really good to see you all. Have a good week, everyone. And thank you for being here, Sam and Raman. Great.
Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Raman. We will see you next time.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.